Okay, I've had to make a few stops, but this should be the last leg of the journey. I'm 15 minutes from my first actual destination. This is the historic Indian River Life Saving Station at Delaware Seashore State Park. It was built in 1876 and the building was restored in the 1990s. Members of the United States Life Saving Service, or USLSS, were stationed here to act as first responders to shipwrecks and ships in distress. I entered the gift shop where I paid just $4 for admission and then went into an adjoining room to watch a short video about the history of the USLSS and its evolution into the modern-day U.S. Coast Guard.
Maritime heritage is an aspect of early United States history often overlooked. Not only was it the prominent means of...
I got there soon after the place opened, and I'm glad I was the only one in the room for this showing. I had put my phone down while watching the video, but I started recording again so fast when the video concluded with this unexpected banger of a ballad. Then it was time to head out to the building and do the self-guided tour. I was lucky to also have this place to myself for most of the time I was in there. The tour has an audio component that requires you to call a phone number and then press the number for each exhibit that you want to hear about. And this was a very clunky way to have to do this, especially while also filming on my phone and not having any kind of headset or earphones with me. I did listen to most of the audio recordings because I wanted to listen, but I kept having to kind of film in between each one while staying on the call and having the voice keep telling me to press another number, and a couple of times I had to just hang up, film, and then call again. So if there was something I would want to change about this tour, it would be the audio aspect. Overall, it was a bit of a pain, but it didn't ruin my experience or anything. The first room was the mess hall, where the table was always set. The motto, "You have to go out, but you don't have to come back," was a reminder that no one was ever guaranteed to make it back from a rescue mission. The place settings were meant to reassure surfmen that they would make it back to take their place at the table again. This beach apparatus was used to rescue people from ships. A line would be fired to the distressed ship from this small cannon called a Lyle gun, and then this system of ropes and pulleys could be rigged up to transport people to shore in this device called the breeches buoy. I'm not sure what was going on here. I think I was supposed to look up into this window to see the original unrestored walls. Hey, I can do these. This wreck pole was meant to act as the mast of a ship during training so the surfmen could practice rescues. Okay, I thought that would be a faster and less interesting stop, honestly, than it was. So I didn't think I'd be there that long, and I'm hoping that I get to this next place with enough time to actually see everything without rushing. But we'll see. The Discover Sea Shipwreck Museum houses part of a collection of recovered artifacts from shipwrecks from around the world. Their website states that this location contains about 10,000 artifacts at all times, while the other 80% are rotated throughout museum exhibits around the world. There was a sign that said no filming video allowed, so this part will just be photos I took. This place is just one room, but it's packed with cases of stuff. The director has spent over 40 years recovering artifacts, and he was there talking to the visitors. I was on the other end of the room while he was telling people about going on deep sea dives down to 20,000 feet in a manned craft where you free fall for like 8 hours, have a couple of hours to explore and collect things, and then take another 8 hours to rise to the surface again. He said they only give you 12 hours worth of oxygen, and once it runs out, there's a system that starts recycling the air, and you better hope it doesn't malfunction. He also said once you're strapped into that chair, you don't get out of it for the next 18 hours, even to use the bathroom. And when people ask, well, what do you do about the bathroom? I tell them, depends. I was glad no one could see my face while I was listening to all this. After that, he talked about how he's been on dives where he and others discovered lots of new species that hadn't been seen before and got to name them, and he was showing us some photos of these crazy-looking deep-sea fish that had been taken by the onboard camera. This was pretty cool until he said that they'd captured a bunch of them to bring back to university labs to be studied, and that the fish have to be captured in pressurized containers just to survive being brought out of the depths at all. So that was pretty fucked up. Anyway, the seashell store was pretty big, and there was a lot of the typical beachy tourist store crap, and there was also a whole room full of tons of seashells. Well, I thought the Shipwreck Museum was going to be the main event of today, but it turned out to be the place that was more of a quicker stop. The ladies working at the store were really nice. I was looking at some of the postcards, and then I decided to just get a magnet, but they insisted on giving me 2 postcards for free anyway. It's about 3:15, and I'm headed home now. I'm gonna go home, make something to eat. I've been surviving on some salted peanuts and pretzels from Wawa, but I purposely had a pretty hearty breakfast this morning, so that's been fine.